Well, it's been a little while since I've done one of these, but I think it's finally time for a review. This time I'm going to be reviewing my own personal unit that I've made on the 50 states, so stick around. As always, I'm going to give y'all an honest review, okay? This is not going to be like I made it and so it's the best thing in the whole entire world. This is an honest review. So, in saying that, we've actually not quite finished yet. I think we've got like, I don't know, five states or so left. So, I mean, we're pretty close to the end considering there's 50 of them. You know what I'm saying? So, I will give you guys my review, and it will be the same as all of my other reviews. I got some thoughts from my daughter as well. So, we'll go through those and then we'll go through my thoughts. Some I have planned and some will just be kind of a ramble. Y'all know how I do this. Before I get started on the review, I will link for you down below the video of the 50 states unit. That way you guys can get more information on it if that's something you're interested in or whatever you just want to see inside of it a little bit better. I will include that link down for you below. Because if you haven't heard anything about it, then it may not make sense as to what our review is. Moving on. My daughter, this is what she had to say. So we do this as a pros and cons kind of situation. So her pros were the drawing sections. She loved all of the videos. So also in this video down below, I will include the link to the YouTube playlist that we have created kind of as we've gone through the different states. There is well over 200 videos on there. And so it's just as we've gone through things and things have piqued our interest or whatever, we have found videos and added them there. Disclaimer, of course, please make sure you are reviewing everything to make sure that it is appropriate for your family. That's all I'm going to say about that. I asked her what her favorite state was. She said Hawaii. She loved learning about Hawaii. And then there is part of the unit that you can get from the Made to Homeschool community as part of the free resources over there was like the full unit that includes a lot of the extras. And so I asked her about the extras, like, you know, what was her favorite or what did she like, all that kind of stuff. She said her favorite were the note cards that we did along with one of the books. It's like 100 words describing America or something like that. That was her favorite kind of extra from the unit. She only had one con, and if y'all have been around and watched any of my reviews, I would like for you to guess down below what you think she put as her con. And I will give you the answer. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Writing. Is anyone surprised by that? I'm not surprised by that. That is why I specifically designed and created this unit, was because I wanted to tailor it to her and what I thought would be helpful for her and be fun and enjoyable for her, and of course tailor it to her needs. And writing isn't necessarily her favorite, so I tried to include a lot of the drawing sections, which she said was one of her favorites. And so that's why I did it that way. Now there is a little bit of writing, and of course we were required to do some of the writing, but I just kind of tried to scale that back or give an alternative or something like that, so it's not where you're just literally writing all of the information down. So that was my daughter's review. Okay, moving on to my thoughts here. I also wrote down a list of pros. I think the unit is fun. I think it's interactive. I loved the idea of taking this book, right? This is the book that it is based off of. And you open to your state for the day and you just lay it out on the table, on the floor. We did this on our living room floor. which I think has now transitioned us to schooling in the living room instead of here in the classroom. But just lay this out and we would just work through it. We, just read different things. And that's how the videos came up. And we really loved having the videos too. We would kind of follow the prompting through the unit and read different things. And one thing we would want to know information about, or I really want to see what this waterfall looks like, or, what are the animals? And so we would find videos on those. And I just really loved that. I really loved that we just kind of got to go through it together and learn it together. And it was just fun and interactive in that way. Obviously I made it to fit my daughter. And so I loved that about it, right? Because that's how I intended it. Doesn't mean that it didn't come without, areas that we were like, needed a little extra push again with writing or things like that. But for the most part, I made it for her, and to kind of what I thought she would enjoy. Yeah, lots of info. I loved the videos, all that stuff. There is a wealth of information in here, and there is so much that you can do with it, which leads me to some of my cons, which is there is so much in here and it can really take you a long time. Okay. We are used to kind of a short and sweet kind of deal. We're not used to like hour-long rabbit trails and things like that, and literally just being consumed with it through the day. And part of me likes that and is, really appreciates that we were able to do that. But the other part of me is like, well, right, but when do I cook dinner? You know what I'm saying? Because it's very much like we're doing it together, and we're exploring and we're going and we're doing and we're looking things up and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a me and her kind of deal. And so I can't always be there, right? Somebody, like I said, has to cook the dinner and all of that stuff. And so it's definitely something we will come back to. Now, in the future, I don't know that we will use my unit study. It may be that we approach it differently, using some other kind of unit study or something of that sort. But we will definitely come back to states and learning about states. And so, of course, there's an opportunity there to kind of explore some of the things we, quote unquote, missed out on this time. But I think it's definitely something to be aware of, that if you are not the type of person who spends, 3 days just really diving into something, that it's possible to do that with this. And so you kind of got to rein it in and keep some boundaries there, or keep a little suspense, a little wonder with some things, because you really can get very involved with that. Another thing, and this is true of every unit study or any study that I have found on the 50 states, because of the nature of what you're learning, it's repetitive. Doesn't matter what what program you're using, what unit study you're using, whatever, it's repetitive. It's the same information. Sure, you can kind of tweak it a little bit here and there, and maybe you're finding different information in one state than you would another. Maybe one you're doing a craft and one you're doing, something in the kitchen, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all pretty well the same, right? And so that's just the nature of the study. And this was no different. It's the same thing for every state. Now, we did have a little fluctuation. My daughter would choose, instead of doing the flower this day, she would do the tree. And instead of doing the tree, she would do the bird. And some days she would do the bird and the flower. And, there was some variation there. There's some variation in the animals that she would choose. And so it's not exactly the same, right? It doesn't always have to be exactly the same, but it's still, you're drawing a picture of an animal or of two animals. You know what I'm saying? So there is definitely some repetition there. Which it is what it is. No, you can't really get around that. The other thing too, and this is just for our personal situation. I will show you here. So I stored ours in a large 3-ring binder. Okay, these are all of the pages here for all of the states. So initially I had a plan and it was going really, really well because we got to break it up. So remember I said in Made to Homeschool, I offered the full unit for free there. That included a lot of the extras. So we were going through the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, a book called Forgotten Founders, lots of different things. And so I was breaking up the week with those extras. So Monday we were doing 50 states, Tuesday was an extra, Wednesday was a state, Thursday was an extra, and Friday was a state. And that was working really well. Again, we got to kind of break it up a little bit so it wasn't literally the same day the same thing every day. However, things happened. We had to put school off for a month and a half, roughly. I don't really know. It was a little bit of a whirlwind there as far as time frame goes, but there was a significant amount of time where school was just not happening in the least bit. And so obviously that kind of set things off a little bit different, and we have not been able to get back into the extras. I tried to kind of pick it back up once we started getting back into school, and then I realized that if I want to be done by this day, which I do, we're going to be done by this day on my calendar, okay? Then we just do not have enough time. We really have got to just do the states. We cannot add any of those extras in, and so we've just been doing the states. Now, my hope is that over kind of our break here that we'll have, this is the end of the school year for us. But I'm hoping maybe we can at least go through some of those books and do some of those extras because we did like them. We enjoyed them. I think they are really, really fantastic resources. We just didn't have the time to get them fit in for this school year. Again, we can do that in the future as well. That's just kind of one of the things that didn't work out well for us because it's so long. So, and I planned it at the end of the year. So that's one thing to kind of consider too. If this is something that you're looking at using or doing in your homeschool, really make a plan and understand that it's long, y'all. It's so long. As a family who is used to gather around and smaller kind of unit studies that we can get done in, 4 to 6 weeks, this was really, really long. And I knew that obviously going into it, but it just didn't sink in until we started getting into it. And I'm like, okay, we're quite a ways in here now. Like, can we be finished? So it may even be better to kind of drag it out and do it as a whole year. Just Friday is States Friday or something like that. Of course, it can be used however it works for you in your family, but that's just kind of how I had it planned. I was just going to finish out the year with 50 states, and that was going to be that. I even still have national parks. I wanted to incorporate national parks somehow from Gather Round. I ain't even looked at it, y'all. I ain't even printed it out. I think I downloaded it and that was that. I got the MP3, so I don't even have to read it. We were going to do like this whole big thing and it was just going to be so great. And I ain't even printed it out. Like I said, I ain't even looked at it. I downloaded it, stuck it in a folder and said, well, that'll be cool. And that's been the end of that. So it's very possible that this will kind of roll over into next year. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. So that's the review. Oh, and part of it comes, the last page in the study also includes the city's study, or like a page where you can go through the city for that state. One thing I learned that I did not notice prior to choosing that activity, not every state has a city listed, like has a full page. So these are the pages for the city. Again, so much information. But not every state has a full page for their city. Some of them are back here, like this. And so some states, this is all you get. It's just this small little thing. And so you don't have the same information in the book to fill out what's needed on the paperwork or, you know, on the sheet. So those days we just skipped it, or we would look it up, or we would just fill in what we could find from the back, and that would be it. Another thing too, in here, I did have to supplement some states with animal videos, and just trying to find like what are some more animals that are here, because some states had a plethora of animals that my daughter could choose from, because you pick 2 famous people and 2 animals. Some had some cool animals that she was able to choose, and then other ones, there was like, you know, 1 type of snake or something, and then that was really it. And so that's where a lot of those videos came in too, was just trying to get some more ideas of other animals that live there, that she could choose from to write. Overall, I'm glad that we are nearing the end. I'm looking forward to it, mainly because it's the end of the school year. Oh, another thing, if you get the study, so if you're in Made to Homeschool and you printed the study from there, you also get the book list in the back, or it's not in the back, it's in the front. There's 1 book for every state. Loved that. We have had so much fun reading those books. It's just kind of a fun way to kind of round out the study of the state, and hear a different story or tale from then, or sometimes it's history. It just kind of depends. I really tried to be very intentional with choosing a wide variety of picture books. But I think that is it for this review. If you guys have any thoughts, questions, concerns, any of those things, feel free to leave a comment below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.